What's up YouTube, Dal here from Zephyr War Games, and today I'm going to bring you a test hand combo video for the 60 card monstrosity that is Bystial Thunder Link. So what this deck does is it combines all of the powerful versions of the Bystials and then gives you access to synchro plays, link plays, and even XYZ plays if you wanted to as well, while utilising the interruptions from the Bystials, the powerhouse abilities of the Bystials, and the powerhouse abilities of Chaos Monsters as well. So, with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. I'm having a heck of a lot of fun with this deck, and it actually got me second at locals last night as well. So it's definitely something that I advise you guys looking into if you already have the Bystials themselves and want to change it up from a tier Ishizu format. So, our opening hand of 5 will be pretty nuts. So, as you can see, we've got a crazy amount in our hands right now. There's no Asher or anything to try and bait, or no Gamma, sorry, to try and bait out hand traps. So the best thing you can do is you just go, cool, Special Summon Fenrir. Fenrir's effect to deck Fin, replace itself, which sets you up for your danger, which is absolutely awesome. And then that's going to give you a second copy of Fenrir. Now obviously at this point here, Fenrir is just an additional bonus. It is not something you absolutely have to play. It's just a card that in this exact example just replaces itself, gives you a form of interruption on your opponent's turn as well. I don't know why I'm shuffling, because we're definitely going to be activating Chaos Space. You can do it now, or you can do it at a later stage. You could activate your Danger Sukanoko first, and then see what you draw off of that. Or you're going to be discarding, I would personally be sending the Druid Swarm. It's not ideal, but by sending it, you're able to get into a Lubellion, which is really, really cool, because he'll then give you a Magnamute, and you'll be able to extend your plays further forward from there. The only downside would be is if you reveal Snake and discard the Druid's Worm, if you don't draw a Light or the Dark, the Chaos Space is completely dead. So that's the route of risk that you run. Discard Snake, cool, summon it back. You activate Chaos Space, you still send the Druid's Worm. Reveal Snake, discard the Druid's Worm, summon the Snake, draw a card. If you don't draw a Dark, these are two both dead. So you're best off playing this now, so you've guaranteed that it's useful for you, and you're going to send the Druid's Worm. Now, if you wanted to, you go Dragon Link route. I'm not, because I actually really like the Bystial Lubellion route, because I just think it's such a cool little fun power play that it's really worth it. So we're going to activate Lubellion's effect. Now, again, you could ultimately go for Magnamute, which will guarantee you a search in the end phase. Alternatively, if you went with Soronir off of the combo of Lubellion will give you the ability of both draws and pluses. The only issue is you won't be able to get the draw or the plus until the next turn, so you're not going to be able to get that right here, right now, unless you reveal something decent off of the Sukanoko. So it depends if you want double back row or one back row and a hand trap, and I'm going to go with one back row and a hand trap for the pure fact that I feel that this gives me a better balance between if my opponent has a board wipe, if my opponent has any way of turning off my entire board, it still gives me routes to play. So you're going to activate the Magnamute, you're going to target the Druid's Worm, you're going to banish that and summon itself down, you're going to activate the effect to search in the end phase, so you're completely safe. You'll then Lubellion, summoning itself back, trigger Lubellion's effect, and this one you're going to go for Beast. Again, you could go for Rebranded if you want to, but I feel Beast is just all around the better option. Now what we've done here is we've actually, yes, we've lost a bit of hand advantage, but we've actually deck finned where at all possible in order to get us everything we need, so that when we reveal the Sukanoko, we minimise the chance of drawing into cards that we don't really, like we could already search for our route of plays anyway. You did have a benefit as well, that if you wanted to, you could Magnamute banish this and then use Chaos Space to put this back to the bottom of the deck and draw one card, but again, you wouldn't guarantee this play, so it's kind of a bit risky. We'll shuffle the hand up, we'll reveal Sukanoko, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's 5, 6. So you get rid of the Fenrir, which is probably the best one you can get rid of. You go for your Sukanoko, and you draw a card. Nessie, pretty busted just on steel. So again, reveal this, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is 1, 2, 3. So you get rid of Chaos Space, you summon down Nessie, you draw one card. Gamma, completely dead, thank you very much. And then this is where your kind of plays can start to adapt a little bit further. So, obviously you kind of want to keep your Bystial on the board, so you've got the Beast to pop it and then pop another card your opponent controls. You've got generic link play, so this is where you can go into the Dart Charmer, you can go into your IP Masquerena, which will be great because then it means that you've also got a route into something like Nightmare Unicorn, you've got the discard off of Gamma, plus you'll get the end phase search of your Bystial Lubellion. So you've got a lot to play around with, it just depends on where you want to go. With this particular hand, because you don't have multiple dragons, you'd probably use these two right here. You could go into Curious if you really wanted to as well. And you got IP Masquerena. And then what you do is in your end phase, personally, I would go for Druid Swarm. Because then at least I know with the Druid Swarm, I'm going to get the ability to kind of double send if I do it early enough, because then I don't need to send the Bystial Lubellion off of this. Or I could use it as link fodder through IP Masquerena. So I'll just bring these all down a little bit. So you pass your opponent's turn. If they clear your entire board, you've got a Gamma sitting there waiting for them, which is great. Otherwise, you've got a form of interruption in the form of the Fenrir. So they activate anything, you can target and banish it. You've then got IP Masquerena, which can be used to link into these. Or you go Druid Swarm first, banish one of their cards from the graveyard, unless otherwise you've got enough in your graveyard to banish. You can then use IP Masquerena, and you've got an indestructible Appaloosa there. Or if you know you're not going to use the Gamma, you use these and go into a Unicorn. And then what you'll get is you'll get a send of a special summoned monster. Plus you'll get a discard and spin off of this. And then you still maintain the pop of this. So that's a form of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 forms of interruption. And yeah, the best thing about that is you cover pretty much all your bases. The only downside of going for Druid Swarm is that you do put yourself on this position of, if my opponent does clear my board, and I burn through all my resources, there's no way of coming back, because then you need to be like top decking the God card. But you've put up so much forms of interruption that if they don't do that, and they don't clear your board off, Lubellion gets you the... Lubellion will get you the rebranded for the next turn, so that'll allow you to maintain more resources. As long as you keep a Dark Dragon on the board, you can also get rid of it. You've also got direct access into access code. Fenrir as well can search out another copy of himself, so you've got an additional discard fodder. It just keeps going and going and going and going. So after another decent shuffle and a good old cut, we'll do a second test hand going first, being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, Gamma just loves my hand at the moment, which is absolutely fine with me. Because the best thing about Gamma is it protects your Lubellion. That's the biggest important thing about this. So Lubellion's effect, you're going to send this to the graveyard, and you're going to summon, or not summon, sorry, search a Magnamute. Would be your ideal first search. Now the thing here is you kind of want to pop stuff, you want to get rid of stuff. This is one of those weird hands where the Lubellion is actually more of an issue, because you do need to use it in order to summon a card down. And that's where it gets a little bit tricky. Now, the reason it gets tricky is because ideally you want this Thunder Dragon Dart into the graveyard, which is absolutely fine because it means you have to go around a couple of different routes to get into a Romulus. But it also means you need to sacrifice the Lubellion. So this is where I'll show you a little bit different. So you activate Magnamute, you target the Lubellion, you banish that, you summon it down. You trigger the effect of this, so you'll get to search in the end phase. You'll then conduct your normal summon of your Rocket Tracer. And then this is where you have the option to pop a card if you want to. Keep in mind that you could go directly, you can go into Striker Dragon if you want to, or you could go directly into Dragoon Ignite Romulus. Entirely up to you, but at least if you go through Striker, you'll actually deck fin an additional card and put an additional Dark in the graveyard. So you could use Tracer's effect right here if you wanted to. That would pop the Magnamute. It'll do the exact same kind of route of play. So it's not really the end of the world. Again, it will just deck fin an additional card. So if you wanted to, you could activate Tracer, you could pop the Magnamute. This would send it to the graveyard. The thing is, you need to kind of, you then use Striker Dragon to add the Tracer back to the hand. So there's a lot of if, buts, and routes around. So, keep it this way, sorry. Let's go Tracer into Striker. Striker's effect to give you Boot Sector Launch. This is also the route of play that I'll show you how you can win in time as well. So very, very simply. So you add the Boot Sector Launch. Now you've got the ability of activating Striker Dragon's effect. You would target the Magnamute to destroy it, search you out, add you back the Tracer from the graveyard. You'd then activate Boot Sector Launch to special summon down the Tracer. Tracer can then pop the Boot Sector Launch, summon the level 4 from the deck. You go those into a Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend, you activate Scarlight, you pop the Striker Dragon, you burn your opponent for 500. So that's how you can kind of win in time as well. So there's a lot of routes of play that you can make. So yeah, it is entirely up to you. So from this one, Striker Dragon's effect, pop the Magnamute, add back the Tracer. Effect of this to summon down the Tracer, effect of Tracer to pop the Boot Sector, and this will then give you the other level 4. Now, keep in mind you are locked into special summoning darks from the extra deck, so that is one thing you do need to keep in mind. So this would be your route into the OTK play, not OTK play, sorry, burn play. Now, if we reset this a little bit here and we put it in this position, or even the Magnamute position, doesn't really make too much of a difference. At least with Tracer in the graveyard, you've both got a dark. Then what you do here is you can turn both of these into your Romulus. We'll keep this in our hand. Romulus effect will then go off because it's summoned to search you out a Dragon's Ravine. And then this is where you can get a second copy of the Lubellion should you want to. So, Dragon's Ravine. Activate Dragon's Ravine, uses effect to discard a card, which is beautiful. So we're going to discard the Thunder Dragon Dark, and this will allow us to send a dragon. Now, your best options, if you've got the option of sending the Bystial Lubellion, which in my opinion is insanely good, you could also search an send an Absorata as well if you wanted to. So it's entirely up to you on where you'd want to go from here. I'm personally going to send the Bystial Lubellion because it's just going to gain me so much more advantage. It's crazy. So you then use the effect of your Druid Swarm. You're going to target the Magnamute. No, actually, no, you don't need to target the Magnamute, sorry. The Dark Boy. You're going to banish the Dark. You're going to summon itself down. You'll trigger the effect of the Dark. This will let you search out a Thunder Dragon monster. Now, the one you want to go for in this scenario is you actually want to go for your Hawk, because Hawk will allow you to bring back your Dark as a free search. You could go for a Thunder Dragon, and that's how you'll fill your grave up with more lights and darks. But we don't have an additional, like Chaos monster. So your best one is Hawk as a free extender. You still got the Bystial Lubellion in the graveyard as well. So Bystial Lubellion will then use its ability to send the Druid Swarm to summon itself back, and that will then trigger the effect of Druid Swarm if your opponent has a special monster, which obviously we're going first, so they don't. You can then use the effect of the Bystial Lubellion, and you'll then be able to activate Face Up. The Beast, you can play Regain if you want to. I'm going to go for Beast. And then again, you can pretty much set yourself up in the same position as you did last time, with just one less interrupt. So, entirely up to you. Keep in mind you've got the Magnamute that's going to search in the end phase as well. So, you've now got the ability to activate Hawk if you want to. This will then allow you to special summon back your Dark. And then, it's entirely up to you on where you want to go from here. So you've got two dragons, so you can go into Hieratic Seals, which gives you a form of interruption. If doing so, keep in mind as well, I believe it is Hawk. Let me just double check. Oh no, so Hawk leaves it on the board, which is fine. So you can leave this on your board for your next turn, and then you'll get a search again if you want to, should you get into another monster, which is absolutely fine. So you'd play your turn out, you'd pass your turn. It's not as strong as it was in the previous one, because in the end phase you get to search out off of Magnamute. Now I'm going to go for a Druid Swarm again, just because it's going to give me a double send. So then during your opponent's turn, you've got the ability, and this is where it gets spiced, is you can activate Druid Swarm, target the Hawk, banish the Hawk, summon down the Druid Swarm. That will trigger the Hawk's effect, and both of these cards to me are completely useless, so they can go back into the deck, and I'll draw two new cards. Now obviously if my opponent wants to ash it, by all means do that, that doesn't bother me. So we'll shuffle this up, and then we'll draw two new cards. Broken. And then you've still got the best thing about this, is you can then activate your spheres. So spheres, tributes, no response to that, cool. So then you're going to summon out Brotor. Brotor's effect can then target either a dragon or a Thunder Dragon, doesn't matter, Thunder or a dragon. Discard a card, so we'll go with target himself. We've got Magnamute, so we can then search out another Bystial off of that. So we've had a free bounce. We've also had a banish from our grave to fix our hand, or a banish from their grave, doesn't really matter either way. And then, wherever he is, off of Brotor, we'll search out a Soronir. And then we still have the ability of Branded Beast to send this. So pop a card, send a card, bounce a card, covered all the bases. And then you've got Soronir and Magnamut. Magnamut can then search you any dragon that you want in the end phase, so you can go straight for a Tracer Dragon. If this leaves the field, you search out for your Thunder Dragon or Thunder Dragon Roar. And you've covered all the bases. So then if this all survives, you've got rank 6 plays here. You've got link 2 plays, link 3 plays, link 4 plays, all the way up to an access code if you want to. And it's absolutely insane. So again, a little bit unorthodox, but you can kind of see by playing for our opponent's turn where you've got so much variation, which is what I love about this deck. Is it's not simple of, there are combos that's like, right, okay, if you activate these 2 cards, this is where you should end. But it can adapt, it can change. And what I love about this deck so much, which I'm about to show you now by going second, is it just plays through so much. Like if you open up correctly, you've got ways of baiting your opponent out. You've got ways of recovering once everything's in the graveyard. Yeah, it's absolutely nutty. So really, really enjoy this deck right now. So shove these up, and we'll do our test and go in second. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Again, not a bad hand. It's not ideal, but it's not bad. So you special summon down Fenrir, you activate the effect to search out a second copy of itself, or technically a third copy now. Obviously, if your opponent wants to stop that, by all means, doesn't bother me. If they don't negate its effects, and they just chain another effect, then obviously Fenrir will give you the ability to banish, which is really nice. Reasoning is a bit of potluck, so this is where it does get a little bit tricky, because you need reasoning. It doesn't really matter if reasoning hits or not, as long as it puts a light or a dark in the graveyard, then you're good to pretty much rock and roll. So we'll do this here. Reasoning, we're going to call 6, because 6 is, I have, by like 1 or 2 cards, 6 is the highest represented card in my deck, so it's a 3. Of all the other cards it could have put in the graveyard, waff. This again is actually fine. So obviously by the stroke of pure luck, it is completely fine. The only issue is, again, we still need to get a light or a dark in the graveyard. So if I wanted to, I could tribute one of these off for the Thunder Dragon Roar. And then that will give me the ability of getting into the graveyard and gain more advantage. It's not ideal, but it is a way of playing if you wanted to. Alternatively, 7 and a 3, tuner. You can go straight into a Baron. So it's entirely up to you on where you want to go. I'm going to go a bit of an unorthodox route, just so you can kind of see where else you can play with this one. So if we tribute off the Ash and we summon down the Roar, then what you want to do here is you want to link these 2 off. Now you just need to go to a generic link 2, but because Roar is a dark, you can go into Dark the Dark Charmer. Now obviously if your opponent has something in the graveyard, you can steal that, do whatever you need to do. Now off the back of this as well, you could activate the Roar effect now, but we're actually going to activate the Roar effect now by targeting it with Magnamut. You're going to banish that, you're going to summon itself down, trigger the effect to this. Now obviously if we activated Magnamut during our opponent's turn, we would have then been able to search out Lubellion and we would have guaranteed our hand a little bit more. Trigger the effect, so chain it 1, chain it 2, or chain it 1, chain it 2, whichever one you want to protect most. Obviously Roar will then give you Dark to the board. There we go. And obviously Magnamut will give you a search in the end phase. So again, it's entirely up to you on where you want to do. You can link generic cards, you can link more cards. Like I said, if Dark's brought a card back, you've got additional advantage. Entirely up to you on how far you want to go. Now, if we wanted to go this route, chain link 1, chain link 2, discard a Fenrir, spin a card. Dark's effect searches you out Hawk. It's not ideal, but it does kind of give you the ability to clear a bit of stuff off. There we go, there's Hawk. Activate Hawk, bring back the Roar. Now you've got attack stats decent enough here, but again, very, very easily, just to keep this on the board so that if it's sent to the graveyard, you get to float a card as well. We go into access code. Access code would target to gain 3. Now the issue is both of our XYZ links are dark, so you're only going to be able to pop 1 card. So you'd banish, you pop. Attacking for 53, attacking for 24. Now just double check that Hawk doesn't special specifically in defense. No, just specialise, cool. I know one of them does, so. And then obviously during the end phase you'd use Magnamut's effect, you'd probably search out a Druid Swarm, just so you've got another form of interruption. Now it's not ideal, but you kind of saw that the hand wasn't the greatest, but we were still able to kind of play around through certain aspects. We were able to adapt different routes, and we were able to kind of show what else the deck could do. So you can kind of see where you get the Thunder Dragons to the grave and everything like that. Okay, so now we're going to do our final shuffle, and we're going to move into test hand number 4. So our final test hand going second will be, after a very decent shuffle and a good old cut, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Broken. Now with Gamma, you can hold it as late as you possibly want to. It is entirely up to you. Keeping in mind that if you use it during your opponent's turn, you're not going to have a lighted dark in the graveyard. But if you hold it with this, you have so much advantage. You can search. It's mad. So activate Chaos Space, discarding Raw as cost. If your opponent wants to interrupt that, you just go cool, Gamma, bam. And this includes any of their card effects on the field, plus any of their hand traps. So you have very strong protection. Because we sent a dark, you search out a light, which is obviously going to be your Bystial Lubellion. We're then going to use Bystial Lubellion's effect, again, keeping our board clear so that we can bait our opponent out into a Gamma should they be doing anything. Now, Bystial Lubellion will then search you out a... Because we're going second, I'm probably not going to worry about searching too much. So I'm actually going to go for Druid's Worm, because this will guarantee me a send, basically. Now, here's where it gets very, very interesting, because this is where you're going to gain a lot of advantage. So you go Druid's Worm, target your Raw. Again, your opponent, I would like to think that your opponent would attempt to try and stop that in one way or another. Otherwise, you're just going to go boom and get an effect off of that. So, again, summon down the Druid's Worm. We'll act like they haven't, just because then this can be free discard for it. It doesn't matter either way. If they do, you're in a massive plus. Activate the effect of Raw. If they try and ash it, you go, okay, cool, whatever. You've still got plays to make. So then what you're going to do here is you're going to go into your Dark. There we go. So you summon the Dark out. And it's not going to be so hard to get that to graveyard. You also got the ability as well. Keep in mind that Darkest Diablos will summon itself if you tribute a Dark monster. And it needs to only be in the hand or graveyard. So really, really cool. Yeah, or hand even if not. I needed to double check that. There's no need to worry about that because you can just gain more advantage. Like if you wanted to, you could hold back the Druid Swarm and then use this as well. So you're basically saying, come on, ash me, I dare you. And if they don't, in theory, you would have resolved 3 effects and then a 4th one as well for the Druid Swarm if they're really trying to not wanting to interact with you. And this is where it just gets absolutely mental. So again, because you already opened up Darkest Diablos, you're going to be wanting to search out your Levianeer and your Chaos Dragon. There is no reason not to be summoning out both of these. And there we go. And keeping in mind as well, your Chaos Dragon will actually allow you to recycle some of your grave. So, well, Banish Zone, which is really, really important. So, what we want to do here is you want to go start off with Lubellion, tributing off your Druid's one. So that gives you a send. So I'm just going to use this as a form of interruption. So we've had 1 send. Because we tributed, our Darkest Diablos will trigger to summon itself back as well. Use the effect of the Bystial Lubellion. This will then let you set or activate Branded Beast. Now on this one, because I've got ways of getting additional draws, I've got ways of additional recycles. Yes, it's nice to have Lubellion on the board as a form of boss monster, but I actually want it in the graveyard so that I can start banishing stuff and start getting the play through Lubellion. So again, it really depends on where you want to go with this, but I'm going to go Beast. We'll destroy the Lubellion, we'll destroy the back row. So that's, well, not back row. We'll destroy one of their cards. So that's another form of interruption. By doing so, you've also put a light in the graveyard. So you can now banish the Bystial Lubellion, which will summon out the Black Collapse. You then turn Black Collapse into Striker Dragon. Now, obviously, you could go into Dark the Dark Charmer, you could go into IP Masquerena and gain further advantage. It is entirely up to you on where you want to go from here. But we'll go into Striker Dragon. We will then trigger Striker Dragon's effect, which will search you out. Oh, actually, did I already have Boot Sector? No, I didn't. Okay, cool. I was like, oh, I can't remember if I had Boot Sector in my opening hand or not. So you get your Boot Sector. There we go. Search that out for pretty much free. You obviously trigger off the Black Collapse as well, which will give you White Wyvern. No, there we go. We're just going to deck fin as much as we possibly can. So White Wyvern will then allow you to banish Black Collapse and summon itself down. You'll then turn these two So Striker Dragon plus your White Wyvern, and you, sorry, missed a step. You banish the Chaos Space, you put the Black Collapse to the bottom of the deck, and you draw a card. Cool. That's a shame because that could have been searched for that, but it is what it is. You then put these two together, and you then go into, and this is where you just gain stupid advantage. You go into your Romulus effect plus White Wyvern's effect, so you'd get the Black Collapse back. You'd then also get Dragon's Ravine. And as you can see, we're starting to build our hand up with just fodder, pure fodder for everything we need. And we'll get a little bit more off of the Thunder Dragon Dark as well. Now, you're not locked into dragons. You can go Dragon Link route if you want to. But because I want to gain as much advantage as possible, I'm actually going to go into Unicorn. Unicorn's effect can discard the Gamma. This is now dead now. Spin a card. You can then activate Dragon's Ravine. Activate Dragon's Ravine, discard a card. You can get rid of Black Collapse if you want to, or you can get rid of Boot Sector. This will then let you Foolish Burial a dragon. Now, the dragon that we want to send this time, because we've pretty much done everything else, obviously, and trigger, I missed the trigger, sorry. Trigger the Thunder Dragon Dark as well, which will give you Thunder Dragon. You're then going to send Absorauta, wherever he may be. There you go. Send Absorauta. Absorauta's effect is going to trigger, which will also let you have Tracer. And I am 99.9% sure we've done all of this without our normal summon. Let's just double check. Yep, no normal summon. Mental. Yeah, so you've got like so much more advantage from this point on. Like, keep in mind you can go Hawk, discard this, summon back Raw. You can go into access code straight away and make sure access code is buff. And then you've got a Wind and a Dark. So you've got two forms of pop on that one as well. I'm going to activate Thunder Dragon, and this is literally just for me to fill up my graveyard. So Thunder Dragon, and then Thunder Dragon again to get the final one. Again, you do double Thunder Dragon if you don't need hand advantage, which at this moment in time, we really don't. Now, if you wanted to, you hold back your Chaos Monsters. Like, if you're worried about a Nibiru or something like that, this is the next smartest play. You just normal summon out your Tracer, you Tracer's effect to pop the Ravine. That will then let you summon out your Recharger, wherever he is. There you go, Recharger. You would then sync these two together, and then this is where you go into Savage. If you wanted to, you could go off into Raw and go into Baron. It really doesn't make much of a difference. The only difference is Savage will be stronger. So Savage, we will go with Striker Dragon on this one, because we've got a Wind in the graveyard. You don't really want to take that away. So Savage now has one negate, which you're only going to be able to use it once anyway. And then, yeah, from this part on, you're just absolutely laughing. So your graveyard is absolutely stacked with materials to banish. If you're worried that you can't finish the game off here, which I'd be amazed if you can't, you should be absolutely good. So you scale up the Armageddon, use Armageddon's effect, you pay 1,000 life points to add back the Bystial Lubellion, and then destroy the Armageddon. Then what you're going to be able to do from this point on is you've also got so many lights and darks in the graveyard, it's mental. So, banish a mixture of lights and darks. So, Thunder Dragon, Absorauta, and Gamma. Summon down Levianeer. Levianeer will pop 2 cards non-target. Another 2 forms of interruption. If you wanted to rip one from your opponent's hand, you could do off the back of that. You can then overlay those into Hope Harbinger. You can link them off. You can do whatever you need to. So I'm going to link these off because obviously Levianeer can't attack this turn because it's activated its effect. That's going to go into... yeah, sure, why not? We'll go Access Code. Access Code will gain 3k. He will then have the ability to pop 2 more cards. So there is your Unicorn and there is your Romulus. So that's 2 more cards destroyed. And then if that wasn't enough, you banish another Light in the Dark and you can bring back Armageddon. So Light, Thunder Dragon, Dark can be Druid Swarm. There we go. And because we went with Druid Swarm as aggression, you know, you don't even really need to worry about that. And you've still got a Lubellion for the follow-up the next turn. You've also got the ability of Black Collapse, which will then be able to be a free summon next turn. Not that you should ever need it. I mean, like, look at this board. Absolutely mental. You've cleared off 6 cards. You've then got an attack for 53, 3,000, 3,000, 24, and 35. complete game over. There's no way your opponent survives that. And you just saw that we did pretty much Savage is basically what we made off of our normal summon. Everything else was made off of everything else. So like if your opponent had like a towers or something that you couldn't get rid of, and they're like, all right, well, you can't beat me this turn, what you would then do, so you do as much damage as possible, and then instead of making Savage, you make Scarlight, use Scarlight's effect, which would nuke your own board and whatever's left of theirs, and then burn them for the remaining damage. So that's kind of where you've got the ability to win in time, but also win without having to deal with or trying to get past the massive towers. So yeah, that is it for the deck. I'm really enjoying this deck. I'm still playing around with it. I'm still changing ratios. I'm still changing just the whole lineup of the deck. But I am thoroughly enjoying it. Really, really like the way that this operates. Yes, it might be a little bit clunky being a 60 card version, which is basically where I'm starting off at. So I'm starting off at a 60 card version, and then I'm going to work my way down until I find a version that I like. But I quite like the fact that this deck can twist and turn different routes of play. So your opponent will be like, oh, okay, he's playing Dragon Link, and you go, nope, here's some Thunder cards. Oh, he's playing Thunders. Nope, here's some Dragon Link cards. And it just keeps them on their toes, and it really does struggle. Like, I think I went through most of my tournament yesterday, and people were still like, I have no idea what you're playing. I still do not know what you are playing. And I'm like, yeah, cool. So not only do you get the advantage of the unknown, but you also get the advantage of just generally having a powerhouse. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.